Last week we uploaded a video on the Calavan Retreat Center YouTube channel called The Asshole Test. One question to keep out bad volunteers, guests, and residents. Where I explained a simple process I had come up with to do what I just said, keep out bad volunteers, guests, and residents that we take in over here. And to my surprise, over the last week and a half, that video has gone, well, not viral, but a little bit viral. It currently has over 100,000 views and about 3,000 comments of both supporters and detractors arguing back and forth over the validity of the test, over whether the test ironically makes me an asshole. Basically, the idea is that, we ask people when they want to come here as a volunteer or a guest or in any capacity, instead of just getting to know them as people, we ask one simple question. In addition to all that, we say, by the way, are you an asshole? And based on their reaction to that question, we get a pretty good indication of what kind of person they are, because the theory is that someone who's an asshole will get offended very, very quickly if you even just ask the question if they're an asshole, whereas most non-assholes would just kind of laugh it off and say, well, that's kind of a weird question to ask, but then they would also understand when I explain why we're asking that question. And I think people who got really mad at me about this test and for posting that video fail to understand the conditions that have necessitated a test like the asshole test, because most of them, understandably, have never been in the position of hosting large groups of strangers from all over the world in their house. And well, a year and a half ago, neither did I, right? So it was a learning experience for me. And just to show you why we've had to take such extreme measures to try to filter out what I'm calling assholes, which basically means very disrespectful people who fundamentally do not empathize with others and therefore contribute to a very uncomfortable, counterproductive, and even abusive living condition, is because of some of the experiences we've had with these kinds of people. And if you talk to other people who have hosted volunteers or any kind of community setting, they will very quickly understand what I'm talking about, because this is not an isolated incident. This is a universal phenomenon, because I think just in general, probably about 10% of the population has strong antisocial tendencies. I don't want to play armchair psychiatrist and say that they're like psychopaths or narcissists or cluster B personality types, whatever. I'll leave that up to the comment section to debate. But the main point is just that there's a certain type of person that if you bring them into a group living situation with strangers, they are not emotionally mature enough or socially respectful enough to contribute to a happy, healthy, harmonious home environment. And ultimately, that's the goal, right? So whether you want to call those people assholes, that's up to you. Let me give you a few examples of what I'm talking about. Okay, let's start with some of our worst examples. I want to stress that these are all real people who came here and really did these things. This is not me dramatizing for effect. I have witnesses to all of these things, though out of fairness to them, I will change some details about them so that they get to remain anonymous, even if they probably don't deserve to. First was a woman. She was about 55 from Russia. She showed up and from day one immediately started telling everyone here how to do their job, including skilled professionals in trades that she had no experience with. We have two very qualified plumbers staying here, and the moment she saw that something was leaking that shouldn't be leaking, or pipes were set up in a way that she wasn't used to, started screaming at them, "You don't know how to do your job in Russia. That's not how we do the pipes. You need to do it the way we do it in Russia." And I'd kind of just calmly ask her, because I don't want to aggravate a situation with a brand new person, so I just ask her, do you have any experience in plumbing? Where are you getting these ideas of how it should be done? And she'd look a little embarrassed and say, well, no, but that's not how they do it in Russia. Tell them to do it the way we do it in Russia, right? And with every domain of work that we were doing, again, that she would freely admit she had no experience in, she assumed she should have a position of authority over all the guests here, even to the point that she started telling me, the host, what to do all the time. And this extended even into the casual social aspects of our life here. Like she would demand that dinner be served at a certain time and would scream everyone's name in the house until they stopped what they were doing to come eat dinner all together as a group, even though nobody told her that we have any kind of strictly enforced dinner policy or arranged meal times. Everybody has their own schedule. Some people work online and may be online at certain times, again, including me, the owner of the house. And she just assumed that she was going to run things when she got here. I don't know where she got that idea. Nobody said to her, hey, will you come here and help us run things? She just showed up as a volunteer with very little information and decided that's what she was going to do. And this is the kind of person who, fortunately, I didn't have to kick out, because she figured out very quickly that she was not welcome here. Because the day she arrived, she was stunned by the views. She thought it was amazing. She loved all our musical instruments and all our community resources here. And she told me, I think I want to stay a few months. Is that okay with you? Because I just love everything you're doing here. And after 2 days, she said, I'm leaving tomorrow morning. No explanation. I certainly didn't argue with her because I didn't want to convince her to stay longer. But it was very clear that this did not meet her expectations, because for some reason she had a very strong idea that she was going to be the boss here. So that's the kind of person I'm going to label an asshole. Immediately assuming you have some kind of authority over other people that they never asked for or consented to. Example number 1. So, next example. 2 young women from Germany who, when they first showed up in my house, seemed perfectly friendly, perfectly helpful. But the first night they were here, I'm woken up multiple times by them loudly entering my private bedroom, opening and closing the heavy door, entering my private space in the middle of the night. I ignore it the first night because I figure, okay, maybe they're just confused, they don't know where everything is in the house, they didn't realize somebody's sleeping in here. But this behavior continues all through the next day too. I start locking my bedroom door because I can't figure out why these people can't figure out that they shouldn't be going in my private bedroom. And I thought, okay, simple misunderstanding. Maybe it's a cultural thing too. Maybe Germans don't have as strong a concept of privacy or something, whatever. But then these 2 girls, without warning, start taking off their clothes in front of me and the other members of the household, despite receiving 0 social cues that that's something they should be doing here. It's not like anyone was walking around naked, half naked, wholly naked. Again, they were only here a few days, but they just thought they would be welcome to suddenly disrobe, and not just like, well, I'm going to take off my top because it's hot out or something and I have a sports bra underneath. I walked in the guest bedroom in the middle of the day to talk to another guest, and I turn around and one of these German girls is completely naked in front of me, seemingly having timed that to happen for the 1 minute that I was in the room talking to someone else. Like, presumably she was going to take a shower or something, but there's no reason she would have had to do that in front of me and the other people in the room. And then I received reports from the other guests too. Yeah, that wasn't just you, they were doing that in front of everyone. Now, I know some of you men may be thinking this is a wonderful thing. This isn't a problem, Gregory. This is great. We should be encouraging this kind of behavior. Well, I didn't exactly appreciate that. I found it incredibly presumptuous. And after they left, we all talked about it as a household, and we all kind of came to the conclusion, yeah, it seemed like they came here with the expectation of broadly advertising themselves for casual sex with anyone in the house who was willing. And so I have to assume that's why they were also coming into my bedroom in the middle of the night and acting like they were just checking out the house. They were trying to subtly signal to me, hey, by the way, if you want to have sex, Gregory, we're here in your bedroom. If you're open to it, we're open to it. And so after these 2 girls left, I wrote a lengthy but accurate, detailed review on their volunteer profile saying, well, they seem like very nice young women, but why the fuck were they walking around my house naked when I never gave any indication that that would be welcome in my house? I highly suggest that these young women reflect upon their behavior and how to act as a good guest in someone else's house. After I did that, they wrote me a series of very long, angry messages saying, how dare you write these things about us? And I simply responded, okay, tell me which part of what I wrote didn't happen. If you can name one thing I said you did that you did not do, I will remove it right now. They couldn't, they blocked me. So what does that indicate to me? It means these people are incapable of self-reflection. That they are incapable of stopping and thinking, oh, was I a piece of shit? Was I rude while a guest in someone else's house? Did I break the rules of their household without realizing it? I shouldn't do that anymore. And said, no, it must be this guy's fault. How dare he be so judgmental of what we choose to do? We should be free to walk around naked anywhere we want. So again, assholes. On a similar note, a very early female guest we had here was very flirtatious with one of the men, which, is fine. That's not an asshole-ish thing to do. If there's mutual attraction and flirting going on, that's inevitable if you get enough people in a house together for long enough. Except that the day that she slept with him the first time, she then immediately stopped talking to him and started avoiding him around the house. And everyone else in the house got involved in this drama. It became this whole big household drama. Why this girl suddenly stopped talking to this guy? Did he do something to her? Did she do something to him? And we confirmed even from her, she just decided she was going to have a one-night stand with this guy and then not talk to him anymore, even before she slept with him, except she never bothered to inform him of this. He thought that they were building some kind of mutual attraction and sustained something, and she didn't feel it necessary to inform him, no, actually, I'm not interested in having any kind of relationship with you, I just want to fuck you one time. And then we learned later she had actually planned on making her way around every guy in the house. She wanted to fuck every guy in the house one time. And even with every other guest in the house telling her, it seems like you really hurt this guy's feelings. Maybe you should talk to him, if for no other reason than it's making a pretty awkward situation for everyone else in the house. Instead of following their advice, you're going to notice there's a pattern here with assholes, just spontaneously left the house. One morning said, I'm leaving now, thanks for hosting me, bye. Without informing me, the host, ahead of time, or any of the guests ahead of time, because that was her way of dealing with an uncomfortable situation she created. Just abandon it immediately. No apology, no accountability, and of course, consistent theme here, no self-reflection. Continuing on the theme of women acting scandalously, there was a woman who came here seemingly with the explicit intention of seducing and marrying me, despite knowing virtually nothing about me except that I was American and a homeowner, and I guess that was all the motivation she needed. She was about 10 years older than me. Not what I would consider conventionally attractive, not that that matters, but it was just very strange. Again, she was only here a few days, and I didn't even realize this until after she left. During the few days she was here, I thought she was friendly, I thought she got along with people in the house quite well. We were very crowded at that time, so I was really hardly even in the same room at the same time as her, not because I was trying to avoid her or anything. And then as she left, right after she left, she starts sending me all kinds of really flirty messages about how we should spend more time together, we should get to know each other, but we should do all these things. And I'm sitting here thinking, where is this coming from? Like, did I even have a single meaningful conversation with this person that would make her think we have this kind of connection or chemistry or something? And then I asked some of the other volunteers, like, do you know why this woman's acting this way with me? Like, did she say anything to you? And they said, oh yeah, the whole time she was here, she was trying to sleep with you. Didn't you notice? And I said, no, I hardly spoke to this woman. What are you talking about? Oh yeah, she was always sitting next to you. She was always trying to get close to you. She was always doing all these things with you. And I guess in her country, that's like an obvious sign that someone's romantically interested in you, that they're sitting near you or something. Again, I had no idea any of this was going on until after she left. But she keeps bringing up this conversation now. She keeps saying she wants to come back, wants to spend more time with me. And then I'm kind of just politely declining, like, no, I don't think that's a good idea. Well, then she starts telling other women the same thing about me, because now suddenly I'm getting calls and messages from her friends, all in the same age demographic and country demographic, and I have to presume that when she realized that I wasn't interested in her, she decided to see if her friends might have better luck. Oh, there's this young American guy with a big house in a village somewhere, and he needs someone to come and cook and clean for him and take care of him. Like, she's interpreting that like I need a wife, I think, because we allow volunteers here, some of whom cook and clean, and that's their contribution here. So I think in her mind, she thought, oh, this guy really needs a wife, and I can show him what a good wife I can be for him. And so now I'm getting all these inquiries from women who I don't want to assume that that's what they're doing, because maybe they're just people who want to come here. That's possible, right? So I decided I need some way to test them. So I start telling them, well, we're going to be full for a little while, especially because my girlfriend's going to be staying with us for a while. This girlfriend that I have, the girl that I'm dating, the girl that I'm in love with, she's going to be staying here for a while. So I have to be after she leaves. When do you want to come here? And of course, we notice a pattern right away that as soon as I mention the word girlfriend, suddenly their interest in coming here stops. Why would that be? Well, my interpretation is that they were only coming here with the intention of securing a strapping young American husband for themselves with that American passport. And so now this is a thing I realize I have to filter for. Like, I have to be aware that there's a certain kind of person out there who's coming here for a very manipulative, very deceitful reason. And so I lump them into the category of assholes. One thing I've learned is that it is possible to be a competent and helpful person, hi Anna, and still be an asshole. So I think a lot of people who are assholes don't think of themselves as assholes because they're like, what are you talking about? I'm always helping out. I'm always trying to share what I know and help people get things done right. Yeah, that's entirely possible to be that way and still be an asshole. I'll give you another example. One guy who came here was very skilled in construction. In fact, that's one of the reasons why he wanted to come here. He wanted to see the earth bag building we were doing and the apartment we were building behind the house. And the first day he arrived, everything seemed fine. He's giving lots of good advice for how we might approach the construction we're doing. And he even volunteered to cook lunch the second day he was here, which was very nice of him. He was making some kind of chili that he was very, very proud of. Like, you guys are gonna love my chili. Just wait till you see what I've cooked for you, right? So he's putting meat and beans and all kinds of spices in a pot. And then one of the other volunteers mentions to him, oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you, some of our guests are vegan. They don't eat meat. Now, what do you think a psychologically healthy and socially well-adjusted person would do in that situation if they're preparing food for a group and they've just been informed that some of the people eating the food do not eat meat? I'd probably say, well, I can prepare another variant that's without the meat, or I can prepare a completely different dish for them, or hey, maybe they can just prepare their own lunch today because it's too late. I already added the meat to it, and it'd be too hard to start over again. There are many ways you could approach this situation without being an asshole. Well, this guy said, I swear to God, this is what really happened. Just don't tell them there's meat in it. There's not very much. They probably won't notice. And I was in the room as this was happening. He wasn't talking to me. I was sitting in the corner of the room listening to this, and I'm sitting and waiting for a haha, just kidding, or some kind of sign of sarcasm or irony, because obviously that would be a horrible thing to do to someone, right? To willingly violate their stated strict dietary preferences. This guy doesn't know if they're vegan for religious reasons or ethical reasons. He doesn't know if they have a fucking medical condition that they might have to go to the hospital if they eat. He doesn't know any of that. He doesn't care. All he knows is he already worked really hard on making this chili, and there's meat in the chili, and god damn it, people are gonna eat the chili the way I made it. Because that was the kind of personality he has. He thinks he's doing a really good thing for everyone, volunteering to cook them lunch, sharing his time and his expertise with the building. So how can this man possibly be an asshole? And I watched and waited because I wanted to see if he would actually follow through on this. When the vegans came in to eat and started serving themselves the chili, putting it in their bowl, I was waiting to see, is he going to tell them that there's meat in the food, or is he going to let them eat it? He says nothing. As they sit down to eat, I finally speak up and say, oh, by the way, there's a small amount of meat in the chili, in case you care. And they say, oh, thank you for telling us. And he, I swear to God, looks over at me and looks upset at me, looks mad at me like I've offended him, like I've insulted his ancestors by warning the vegans not to eat his chili with the meat in it. Me, the man who was hosting him, in my fucking kitchen, cooking the food that I paid for. And, well, here's that pattern again. What does this guy do? Already I was thinking I should probably kick this guy out of the house, or at the very least I need to have a very serious talk with this guy, because that was not cool to do. Like, I think I was just so shocked that I didn't know. This was very early on when we were taking volunteers, and I honestly didn't know how to react to this. But I was thinking, I need to talk to this guy, and if he doesn't see anything wrong with what he did, I need to ask him to leave the house, because that's just one of the most disrespectful things that I can imagine. Well, I didn't have to do that. You know why? Because early the next morning he woke up and left without telling a single person that he was leaving, even though he, like the other assholes before him, had initially said he was planning on staying here a long time. So what does that indicate? On some level, he realizes he fucked up, but can't take accountability for it, so he's gonna blame it all on us and say, well, fuck those guys anyway. I don't want to deal with those assholes. How dare they not like my cooking? They don't deserve me. And then there are just lots of little things that some people do that might seem a lot more innocent and innocuous on the surface, But at the very least, they make it very clear that some people have probably never attempted co-living, like living in a shared household with shared rooms and shared resources with other people, maybe except for their parents and siblings, I don't know, because some of their behavior, I don't know how to explain any other way except that. And it is applied to people who I'm a little bit more forgiving of if they're like 18, 19, or early 20s. Maybe this really is their first time being away from home, but I've even seen it with much older people too, who you would expect to know better. I'll give you a few examples. There was the guy who came here and wanted to play my guitar and my ukuleles, which is fine. And to his credit, he did ask, "Oh, can I play your guitar?" Instead of just assuming that it would be okay. It's nice that he asked. And I remember I said to him, "Yeah, sure, just don't do anything stupid with it," kind of jokingly, because if you're a guitarist, you expect other guitarists to have a basic understanding of how to treat the instrument with respect, especially if it's clear that it's a fairly nice instrument above beginner entry-level guitar. You wouldn't just give it to a random person and hope they don't accidentally scratch it or bang it against a wall or something, but a guitarist, you would expect the basic rules of how to handle the instrument. And that's why I thought I didn't need to say something like, "Don't do anything stupid with it." I just kind of said it as a joke. And then I walk into the bedroom he's staying in, which was this room, which has these really hard tile floors. And he's lying in his bed, and the guitar is flat in the middle of the room against the hard tile floor where it can easily get scratched, or anyone can easily step on it or trip on it or kick it or anything, despite the fact that there is literally a guitar holder mounted on the wall, which he took it from, and there are soft beds and soft couches, which would have been far more appropriate to put it on where it wouldn't have been susceptible to damage. He did the laziest possible thing and just dropped it on the floor because he didn't want to bother walking across the room and put it back. And I know he knows this was a bad thing to do, because as soon as he sees me walk in the room, he jumps up out of bed, grabs the guitar, and puts it on the guitar holder as soon as he saw that I saw that the guitar is on the floor. So he knew, clearly, oh, Gregory wouldn't want me doing this with his guitar. Fuck Gregory, who gives a shit what he thinks? But then when he sees that I see, he immediately jumps up to correct it, right? So, very, very inconsiderate person, possibly bordering on asshole territory. Other things people have done, it's weird, because either they can have absolutely zero sense of cleanliness and order, or they can be hyper-focused on cleanliness and order to the point in either direction they can be an asshole. And I'm not one to judge. I'm not a particularly neat and tidy person, but at the very least, I try to think, if I make a mess, is this going to affect the other people around me who are sharing the space with me? But I have seen people who seemingly do not understand the concept of emptying a trash can, so they will just continue to pile garbage onto an already overflowing trash can to the point that it is literally falling on the floor, forming piles around them, and they will just continue to put more garbage on top. And never once even, maybe they don't know where the extra trash bags are. They can ask someone or something, but it's like they don't even see that there's a problem there. They just keep doing it for days and days. We actually did an experiment with someone who was in charge of the kitchen for a few days, which they volunteered to do, which includes things like, cleaning and emptying the trash and stuff. We wanted to see, even though everyone else in the house was noticing the garbage situation, we said, I wonder how long they will allow this to stay this way if nobody tells them to do anything. Because otherwise we would have intervened by the time the garbage is piling on the floor and smelling and festering and attracting flies. But we genuinely just wanted to see, what will this person do? And I think 3 days went by before they finally asked something like, oh, what should we do with the trash? That's how long it took them to realize that there was a problem that they needed to take care of. So that's not the worst thing anyone's ever done here, but it's just kind of mind-blowing when you see the way some people act. And that's the opposite of people who, they're so obsessed with a particular idea of cleanliness and order that they will start rearranging other people's possessions. We had a woman who would actually go through other people's bags and suitcases and move things around, even if she had been explicitly told, my stuff is here under the stairs, don't touch it, I'm storing it here, I'll come back and get it later or something, or I put my stuff in a corner here or in a closet here, don't touch it. And she just had some kind of compulsion that she had to touch it. either she didn't like this person, or she just decided that's not how things should go in the closet. That's not how things should be stored under the stairs. And when confronted about this, because whenever there's any potential kind of conflict between people here, I take it upon myself to be as much of a mediator as I can and help work out these situations. And so I'd ask her, like, okay, did he tell you not to touch his stuff? Yeah. Okay, so why did you touch his stuff, right? And instead of self-reflecting and saying, oh, maybe I did something wrong, she'll say, well, his stuff shouldn't have been there. Why was it there? So again, similar pattern here. A huge part of what defines someone as an asshole is the inability to self-reflect, and therefore the inability to take accountability. And then sometimes there are just interpersonal problems between guests, which is kind of inevitable if you have enough people from mixed backgrounds, from different countries, different expectations, sharing a bedroom, sharing a house, sharing a kitchen, sharing work responsibilities. Inevitably, some people are going to have some kind of disagreement or just not like each other, right? And that's just part of society, right? So when that happens, you have to be the kind of person who's capable of resolving those conflicts as peacefully and proactively as possible. And again, like I said, I certainly always try to make myself available to help mediate these problems as they arise, even if they have nothing to do with me as the host. It's just something going on between two or more people. And usually we have very good people here who are also quite willing to openly discuss these things and talk about, maybe they have a problem with the way we're running the work schedules or the way we're organizing meals and stuff. And so as long as you don't have somebody who seems like intent on causing social problems just in general or with a particular person, everything eventually works out. But occasionally you do get one of these people, either someone who just refuses to compromise. We've even had people who just decided they hated one person in particular for no reason that I could identify. I think it had something to do with some kind of unresolved trauma or racism about the way a person looked or spoke, and absolutely nothing I could say to this person over the course of a couple months of trying would get her to see this man is not your enemy. He's not the devil. He has done nothing to you to warrant this kind of reaction from you that I can tell. And yet you keep insisting that he's the problem and he shouldn't be here and he's the devil. And people just get ideas in their heads. And if you can't talk them out of it, if you can't find a way to peacefully resolve and mediate the problem, and it's causing this uncomfortable situation for everyone in the house, someone has to leave eventually. And I don't think it should be the innocent person who you decided to hate, who, as far as I can tell, hasn't actually done anything wrong. So yes, I would say that kind of thing too falls into asshole territory, because there's no self-reflection, no accountability. This kind of person never stops to consider, maybe I'm misinterpreting something, maybe I'm being unfair in some way, maybe I'm the problem, maybe I'm doing something wrong. It's everyone else, or it's this person in particular I've decided is the one doing something wrong. So after you've had enough of these kinds of experiences as a host, you quickly realize you don't ever want to go through this kind of stuff ever again. And so that's when you start thinking, well, what could I reasonably have done to know that these were the kinds of people that I was bringing into my house before these kinds of things happened? Because basically all those people who turned out to be assholes seemed very friendly, very open, in many ways very skilled, very helpful people. And I had no way of knowing that they had this other side to them that was going to cause so much drama and bullshit in my house. And so that's where the asshole test was born. That I saw that one of the common factors among all these people was that lack of self-reflection, lack of self-awareness, lack of accountability. And so I realized if I could see if they had that quality before they came here, perhaps I could keep the vast majority of these people away, make them not want to come here anymore, right? And so that's when I started asking, by the way, are you an asshole? And if I saw that they couldn't reflect or laugh at that question, and even if they, misinterpreted the question and thought maybe I was accusing them of being an asshole, could we quickly clear up that miscommunication and I could reassure them, no, I'm not calling you an asshole, I'm just asking you because we've had bad experiences with assholes before, and so if you are an asshole, we just want to know that you probably shouldn't come here. So that's part of the test. Seeing, is this person capable of encountering any kind of social stress whatsoever, any potential miscommunication, and having the emotional maturity to clear that up with me. Because if they can't do that in a single 15-minute video call with me, why should they be traveling hours out in the middle of nowhere and staying in my house where they're almost certainly eventually going to encounter some kind of stressful situation socially that they have to clear up a miscommunication or take accountability or self-reflect, then by then it's too late because they've already got an asshole in my house, and who knows what kind of psychic damage they've caused to the people here, right? So I'm proud to say that since we implemented the asshole test, our rate of asshole occurrence here has dropped from about 10% to 0%. I don't think we've had a single asshole here since we started implementing this process. So it's possible that there are false positives, and I may accidentally be eliminating some good people who weren't assholes, but at the very least I can say it seems to definitely be eliminating the assholes. And so now things seem to function a lot smoother here. At any given time we have anywhere from just a few volunteers to up to 10 at our peak capacity, although once we finish this expansion behind the house we will have room for more, I think. And yeah, socially, people tend to get a lot better. They do what they're best at. They all find their own ways to contribute, and the work gets done somehow, and people don't lose their minds and generally seem to enjoy being here. All because we learned how to keep the assholes out.